Hi Year 5, I'm just going to be reading Chapter 7 of the Jamie Drake equation today. Up in my room, I pick my way past the Scalextric's track that covers most of the floor and flop down on my bed. I feel absolutely stuffed. Luckily, turning up with fish and chips for everyone stopped Mum from moaning that I was a bit late when I got back from the Beacon Hill. Although, Grandad still grumbled that I hadn't got him a pickled egg. From downstairs, I hear the sudden blare of the TV. The volume turns to 11 so that Grandad can hear the football commentary. I wrap my pillow round my ears to try and block the noise out, but this hardly seems to muffle the sound. I wish we had our own house. I can't wait for Dad to get back so we can move out of Grandad's and find our own home again. From across the landing, I hear Mum shout to Grandad to turn the TV down. There's no chance of getting Charlie to sleep with the Champions League on at full blast. As the roar of the crowd quietens slightly, I stop myself from thinking about how I made such a mess of things at the observatory. It's funny, but just being there for that short time almost made me forget how much I was missing Dad. I felt closer to him somehow. With all that talk about space and telescopes and stuff, it was like I was at mission control helping to keep him safe as he zoomed overhead in the International Space Station. Now there's no way Professor Foster's going to let me back in there after I spilled tea all over her laptop. As the fish and chips churn in my stomach, I stare at my Lego models on the shelf above my bed. Dad always brings me back a new set when he comes home from a trip away, and then we would build it together. There's a Lego Big Ben, the Taj Mahal, the Eiffel Tower, Brandenburg Gate, and even the White House. It's like a Lego tour of the architectural wonders of the world, although most of my builds are only half finished as there's never enough time to complete them before Dad has to go away again. But when he gets back from the International Space Station, Dad's promised me we'll get them all finished. He even says he's got me the best Lego set yet for my birthday. I can't wait to find out what it is. Sitting up, I grab hold of the Lego catalogue that's on my bedside table. I've already marked most of the pages with post-it notes to give my mum some birthday present hints. But as I start to flick through my wish list, I hear a strange buzzing sound. It's like a low hum, almost too faint to hear, that seems to be coming from somewhere close by. The roar of the crowd from the TV downstairs drones it out for a second. But as the attack breaks down and the crowd's roar turns to a disappointed groan, I hear the buzzing sound again. I look out of the window, thinking maybe that it's one of our planes from the nearby Air Force Base. But the night sky is completely clear. Then I feel a vibration from my pocket and finally work out where the sound is coming from. It's my mobile. I don't know why I didn't realise this before. Feeling puzzled, I pull the phone out of my pocket. Now, my mobile isn't some top-of-the-range smartphone. It's an old Motorola that used to belong to my dad before he got an upgrade and gave his old phone to me. It can receive calls, send texts, but Mum's disabled the roaming internet. She says she doesn't want me running up an astronomical phone bill. The only apps that I've got are a calculator to help me with my maths, a music player that's filled with Dad's favourite tunes, and this ISS tracker app that lets me follow the International Space Station as it flies around the world. When I'm really missing Dad, I can just click on this to find out exactly where he is. I look at the screen. Nobody's phoning me. There are no missed calls, no new text or notifications, but I can feel the phone vibrating in my hand. The buzzing sound is even louder now. Then I see it. In the top left corner of the home screen, there's a brand new icon. It looks like a golden spiral, and as I stare at it, this spiral seems to spin in time with the phone's vibration. This is kind of weird. I don't remember downloading any new apps, so how's this got on my phone? Feeling curious, I tap the spiral icon, eager to find out what it is. As I touch the screen, I yelp in surprise as a tiny tip of my finger suddenly glows with a golden light. I feel a strange tingling sensation crawl over my skin like an electric shock in slow motion, but somehow without any pain. Pulling my finger away, the golden glow at the tip of my finger fades quickly as it came. Goosebumps prickle my skin as I stare in disbelief at the disappearing glow. The phone is quiet now, the buzzing silenced as the spiral on the screen still shimmers with a golden light. Feeling nervous, I gently tap it again, but this time, nothing happens. What is this weird app? The only thing I can think is it must be some kind of virus. Maybe I accidentally downloaded it when I plugged my phone into Professor Foster's laptop. If she knows how to hack the Hubble Space Telescope, I shouldn't be surprised if there's something nasty lurking on her hard drive. But who ever heard of a computer virus that can turn your fingertip into a torch? Before I can swipe on the spiral to try and find out more, I hear another roar from the TV downstairs, this one even louder than the last. As I brace myself for Mum to start shouting at Grandad again, the crowd's roar suddenly snaps into silence, followed by a crash and the sound of breaking glass. Dropping my phone onto the bed, I race to the top of the stairs to find out what's going on. Mum and Charlie are already there, my little sister dressed in her Peppa Pig pyjamas. Then from downstairs comes the sound of Grandad shouting a rather rude word. "What's happening?" I ask as Mum clamps her hands over Charlie's ears. Mum frowns. "I think your Grandad has thrown the TV out of the window." And that's the end. Thank you, Year 5.
Right, hello Year 5. Today we are going to write an application to be part of the astronaut programme. So you're going to be replying to your advert. So there's a few things about setting out a letter that we'll go through first. The first thing you put at the top and on the right is your address. So I've put the school address, you can put your address if you want to, or the school address. So you can see I've started just more than halfway over the paper and I've written it down in a line like that. So that's your address, the person who's sending the letter. Then on this side, against the margin, against the side of the page, you write the recipient's address, which is the person that you're sending the letter to. And in our case, it's the European Space Agency, and I've looked up their address, which is Fermi Avenue, Harwell, Didcot, OX 110FD. So where I'm sending it from and who I'm sending it to. And then back over on this side, you write the date, which is the 28th of January, 2021. Now this is a formal letter because so we're writing it. We don't know who we're writing it to, the European Space Agency. So you write, "Dear Sir" or "Madam." So that's what you write if you don't know the person's name. Then in the first line, you tell them what your letter is about. So my letter is about the astronaut. Just going to swap pens, 1 second. This is a better pen, that's better. Astronaut application. Because that's what my letter's about. Because I'm sure lots of people write to the European Space Agency. And this is what my letter's about. So when we wrote our adverts, we said that you needed to say why you wanted to be a part of the space programme and then your job specifications. So you're going to need your advert with you because you're going to answer your job specifications. So I'm going to start back here. I'm going to say I would love, and remember you're trying to persuade them to pick you. I would love to be a part of a new space mission. Got to spell that right, it's the I-O-N at the end. I would love to be a part of a new space mission. I feel like I need to say something else. Remember we're writing the first person because it's from you, isn't it, this letter? I have always loved, I've got room here, so I'm going to go over here. I've always loved adventure. I'm going to put an exclamation mark there. So that's my first paragraph. You're going to write your own version of that. This is just for you to magpie ideas. You could write 3 or 4 sentences here, but this is just for me to show you. Then the advert asks for my job specifications. Now, obviously, you can make these up because you can pretend that you are an adult by now and you have these experiences that you can put down. So, you could put down, so you need to look back at your job specification and think about what you did. So I think I put about you need to work as part of a team. So I'm going to say, I have worked as a team. I'm going to think about Tim Peake, and he flew helicopters. I have worked as a team flying helicopters for the, I'm going to say the RAF, the Royal Air Force. The other things you're going to need to think of is you need to be good at maths and science. So you need to tell them maybe an example of how you've been good at maths and science. And again, I'm thinking like of Helen Sharman, and she said, obviously she had been a chemist working for Mars. So if that's that could be your backstory. You need to say something about being fit and healthy. You need to say something about working under pressure. Basically answering your personal specifications. So you'll carry on writing it. This is just an example. You need to include those other things. At the end of your letter, you write yours faithfully. Now you write that when you don't have a name of the person in a letter. Because we said sir or madam, we write yours faithfully. If we knew their name, we'd be writing yours sincerely, but we don't. So we've got yours faithfully, and then you just write your name. So there we go. So the things you need to remember is your address at the top, over to the side like this, the address of the European Space Agency, then the date, dear sir or madam, the reference for the letter is but what you're writing about, then why you'd be a good candidate and what job specifications you can answer, what things have you done, and then at the end, yours faithfully, Mrs. Oliver. So remember, yours will be longer than mine. This is just a model for you. I'm not going to do it all for you. I look forward to receiving your applications to be part of the astronaut programme.